Eapen. Some people call me, or also known as JJ the Keg. I run a blog called Tales of Froth, and essentially what I do is I teach people about beer and craft beer, everything they need to know from tasting notes to how a beer is made. I also work with an equipment company as a brewery consultant, so I go around setting up microbreweries and sell the equipment that actually makes your beer. And I started doing this as as someone who was tasting beer as a consumer a good 20 years ago when I lived in the US. And through that particular journey a few years ago, I was on a consumer panel for a very large brewery in Canada. And I went to focus groups, taste tests, and also used to basically taste test products before they were yet to go to the market, meet other people like myself in focus groups, and basically do everything there is to do when it comes to giving feedback on consumer experience for beers. Moved to India 3 years ago, and I realized there was a need for education for consumers on beer. And I started a journey of trying to find good beer in my city here in Bangalore. And I started that blog in 2015, and since then the blog has spread throughout India. I regularly do beer appreciation workshops and basically write about beer for a few different publications, newspapers and magazines. And beer has become really my job, my profession, and my life. And I enjoy it because I absolutely enjoy drinking beer. I also like different styles of beer, and I believe that here in India we are at the beginning of a beer revolution. We have one of the lowest per capita rates of consumption in India compared to, say, another developing nation like China. Chinese people drink about 50 liters of beer per capita per year, and here in India we just drink 2 liters of beer per person. So I'm on a mission to get India to drink more beer. It's a great beverage, it has a lot of character, and it's lower in alcohol, so it's actually much better for you. There are also health benefits. So I'm on a mission to get India to drink more beer and to understand, for people to understand what they're actually drinking. And beer is king. I always end my blogs and I tell people to always say cheers and stay frothy. My first beer when I was 16, at 18, 19 in college, I discovered beer in the US. I had a lot of European friends, we tried lots of different beers. But this was like the late 90s where there was no social media. We didn't even have the internet back then, or it was at least in its infancy. So if we drank good beers and we wanted to share those stories with our friends, we did by the telephone. There was no email or word of mouth, or we took photographs and then waited for them to develop and then shared them. If we fast forward to today, or at least when I started with the consumer panel in Canada, social media was still picking up. This was like 2010, where the other channels like Instagram and Twitter were still growing. They're fairly new. Facebook had been around for a few years. I was definitely using that to share pictures of beers that I was trying with friends around the world. But I would say in the last couple of years, after starting my blog and actually going on this mission to educate India about beer, is the shift into social media. I use social media practically 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And social media for me is pivotal to spreading awareness about beers that I'm trying, or the blogs that I write. So I write regularly or share content on social media channels such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and my blog, which sits on WordPress. And I also sometimes occasionally do videos on YouTube. I would say my favorite social media channels are definitely Facebook and Instagram, and I feel they give me the right reach to the right audience as well in India. And those are the reasons how the blog is actually spread, and I actually educate people and spread awareness about beers using those channels. So social media is an excellent tool for not just advertising, but actually spreading content and making things go viral. You need social media, and it's not a bad thing as long as you know how to use it and manage it. Initially, when I used social media, it was to actually connect with friends of mine from around the world. I have lived in a few different countries, and I found tools like Facebook to be really useful for me to share my moments with my friends around the world, and also to see what they were doing. But when it came to actually launching the blog, I knew it was pivotal to actually leverage social media channels to promote the content that I was putting out there on the internet. And I basically did a DIY thing. I read a couple of articles and I went out and created social media channels for my blog. So I have a Facebook page, I have one on Twitter and Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel which I hope to use a lot more in the future, because I do believe that the shift is now from plain static content to dynamic, as in videos are going to be the next big thing. Well, they already are for some people. I am just a standard blogger, but I would love to transition into becoming a full-time vlogger as well, which is, it's a lot of learning for me to do, but I'm ready for that challenge. But I think social media has to be utilized in the right way, and a lot of it has to do with how you share content and the value or quality of the content. So I decided to focus on beer because that's something that I am passionate about, and I'm not about to dilute my channel and put other things such as food or other beverages or spirits into the blog, because I feel that would dilute it. And I find that most of the followers of my blog are guys like me or women like me who enjoy beer or would like to know about beer. And I think it's very important to stay focused, and your content quality and frequency of posting needs to match up to that level where you're keeping your audience constantly engaged. For example, I do at least 3 Instagram posts a day, and that also goes on to Twitter and Facebook. Blog posts, I do try to do 2 or 3 a month. Writing is a tough task. I'm not somebody who just sits down and does an article in a hurry. It takes me a couple of hours to actually format the piece and then think about the content and completely finish it until I'm happy with it before I actually hit the publish button. So social media is definitely a tool that every entrepreneur should be using. I think a lot of companies miss out on connecting with their consumers or wider audience by not leveraging social media. I think the older generation that used mass media methods like the newspaper and the radio, those methods are still valid. However, I think you have a much wider reach, a more significant reach to consumers who a much more targeted approach if you actually use social media in the right way. So we're coming up to Social Media Day. I think everybody needs to capture their media in a moment. It could be a photograph, it could be a video, it could be a simple post, or it could be a share from someone else's page. But social media is important, and I just want to wish everybody happy Social Media Day.